Hello dear learners, I am Madhuri Gunda from Department of Education, Maharishi Dayal University, Rohtak. Today our topic of discussion is research designs. In this session, we will discuss various research design in different types of researches. Friends, as a researcher, we need to prepare an efficient and appropriate research design before starting research operations. It is the conceptual structure within which research is conducted or activities are carried out. And it is called the blueprint of methods to be adopted for collection of data, decision about the techniques for analysis of data, keeping in view the research purpose, availability of time, money and other facilities. Just as before constructing a house, a well thought out plan in the form of map is required, similarly, we require a blueprint or map of the research activities. A well thought out research design lays strong foundation of the entire research projects. It leads the researches to the purpose for which they are undertaken. Let us discuss the learning objective of this session. The learners will be able to understand the concept of research designs. The learners will be able to understand the characteristics of a good research design. They will be able to discuss exploratory research designs. They will be able to discuss descriptive research in context of research design. They will be able to explain principles of various designs. Let us see what are the characteristics of a good research design. A research design includes the outline which specifies the activities from writing the hypothesis and its operational implications to the analysis of the collected data. One type of design cannot serve the purpose for all types of research problems. Research design should serve the following conditions to become an appropriate design. First, in accordance with the available resources. The research design must be feasible from the point of view of the time and money availability. Second aspect is the research design must be in accordance with the nature and purpose of the problem to be studied. Third characteristic is the research design chosen must be feasible from the competency and the skills of the researcher, and it should be free from the biases. Next characteristic is a good research design eliminates confounding effects of the variables to the maximum. Next characteristic is good research design involves statistical precision, facilitate hypothesis testing by using appropriate statistical techniques. Next characteristic is a good research design must be appropriate. Complexity or simplicity is not the criteria of a good research design. Rather, the design must serve the purpose for which it is supposed to do. Let us discuss some related terms and symbols which are used in discussing the research design. It is required for a researcher to acquainted with some terms and symbols which are commonly used in discussion about the research designs. First is variable. What variables are? Variable can be defined as the condition of living and non-living entities, that is to get varied and to have different values. As an example, we can say intelligence, beauty, academic achievement, all these are variables because these variables vary from person to person. Second, we can say another term is dependent variable. If one variable is dependent on another variable or it is the result of another variable, these variables are affected by other variables. These variables get changed if change is brought in another variable. It is dependent on other variable. These are also called criterion variable and they are symbolized as Y, capital Y. Then next term is independent variable. These variables in a research study are those whose effects on the dependent variable is studied by the researcher. These are often called the antecedent variable and treatment and represented by capital X. In educational researches, independent variables may be a particular type of teaching method or behavior which is supposed to affect the dependent variable. These are the causing factors. Next type of variables which we usually discuss in research designs are intervening variables. These are independent variables that affect the purpose of research study and may affect the dependent variable. These variables may interfere with the results of the study and need to be controlled to have objective results. For example, if a researcher is interested in studying the effect of teaching method on the academic achievement of 10th grade students. There may be other variables like study habits, classroom environment or intelligence or many other variables also which are known to affect academic achievement apart from our independent variable. That is why these variables are required to be controlled or they need to be held constant in order to study effect of teaching method on the academic achievement of students. These are also named as extraneous or interfering variables. Next type of variables is confounding variables. When the situations are in such a way that the dependent variable is not free from the effect of extraneous variables or intervening variables and the relationship between dependent and independent variable is confounded by the effect of extraneous variable, then those extraneous variables which could not be controlled and held constant in a research study had confounded the relationship of independent and dependent variables. Next term is control, which is very commonly used in experimental researches and experimental designs. What control is? One characteristic of a good research design is to control the effect of extraneous variables or intervening variables so that the relationship between the independent and dependent variables can be studied fairly. The term control is used when we design the study minimizing the effect of extraneous independent variables. Another term is control group. This group is that group which does not get any experimental treatment and is not exposed to some independent variable and situationally exposed to some other independent variable for comparison purpose in experimental researches. Another term is experimental group. This group, experimental group, is treated with experimental treatment and the independent variable's effect is studied on the dependent variable of this group. Another term is treatment. Treatment is a particular condition under which experimental group is usually put. Suppose a researcher studies the effect of computer-assisted teaching method on the academic achievement of 10th graders. Then he can divide the students in two groups. One group is taught by computer-assisted instructions and other group by the traditional method. Teaching by computer-assisted instructions is called treatment. This treatment is always given to experimental group, not to the control group. Then the next term which is usually used in the research design is pre-test. The test that is administered to the subjects to measure the dependent variable before the administration of the independent variable, that is X, or the introduction of the treatment before the start of the treatment. It is symbolized as T1. Then treatment is given and after that another term is used, that is post-test. This test measures the dependent variable after the administration of the independent variable, which is X, or the introduction of the treatment. It is also called, it is symbolized as T2. Post-test is symbolized as T2 and pre-test is symbolized as T1. Between T1 and T2 we give treatment. Now let us discuss various research design in different types of researches. First is exploratory researches. That is descriptive researches and various types of research designs. What type of research designs we use in exploratory researches? The objective of exploratory research is to formulate a research problem for more precise and comprehensive investigation. Ideas and insights related to a particular problem are developed during the course. Research designs of such researches are very flexible and provide opportunity to consider all the aspects related to the problem under study. Generally, the research design in exploratory researches are a combination of three methods. First, related literature survey, experience survey, and third, analysis of events which stimulate insight. First is related literature survey. This method is based on the process of reviewing the work of others and building upon their work. It is based on the work of others. Hypotheses stated by other researchers are reviewed and their usefulness is evaluated in further researches. Sometimes in researches hypotheses are not formulated. Then the related literature is reviewed and relevant hypotheses are derived. Theories and concepts developed in different types of researches can be applied in a new research. Not only from researches, the articles written by creative writers provide basis for very fruitful problems and hypothesis formulation. Another second step is experience survey. The experience survey helps the researcher to define research problem more precisely and in formulating the research hypothesis. This survey includes subjects who had experienced the problem under study. Insight into the relationship between the variables is developed, and if the subject related to the problem are small in number, then all the subjects are chosen for information gathering, and if the number of subjects is fairly large, then they are carefully chosen on the basis of their competency and on the basis of contribution they make towards new ideas. Interview method will be used for getting information. Such interviews, questionnaires are generally lengthy and is given to the respondent subjects in advance. This will also help the respondent subjects to think on the issues in advance so that they contribute effectively at the time of interview. Third step is analysis of events which develop insights. This method proves to be very fruitful in hypothesis formulation in a research study. It involves intensive study of selected instances of the phenomenon under research. The related activities may be conducting unstructured interviews, examining the available records, etc. And insight related to a phenomenon is developed by merging together the diverse information gathered by the various sources. Now let us discuss descriptive research studies and research designs. See, descriptive research studies are designed and conducted to get pertinent and precise information concerning the current status of a phenomenon. And descriptive researches are not only related to fact finding, but most of the times they are concerned with the formulation of important principles and solutions of very crucial problems. Descriptive studies involves following type of activities. First, we can say identification and definition of the problem. Second, formulation and stating of the objectives. Third, writing the assumptions upon which the hypotheses are based. Fourth, designing the methods of data collection. Fifth, selecting the sample or choosing appropriate subjects or the source material. Sixth, describe, analyze and interpret the data in clear and precise meaning. Seventh, reporting the finding in a meaningful way. Since the aim of descriptive research is to obtain complete and accurate information, and the facts are to be studied very precisely, that is why the research design must take enough provision for protection against biases and prejudices. The research design in descriptive researches must maximize reliability with rigorous analysis and procedures. All the activities and steps followed in descriptive type of researches must be carefully operated and specifically written and reported. Identification and problem identification is the first step, which should be based on fairly large number of reviewing the related literature. Defining it clearly must avoid ambiguity and should be precisely stated. In order that the study provide desired information, the objective should be precisely stated. Then come the questions of stating assumptions on the basis of which hypotheses are formulated. Hypotheses are always desirable to get formulated in a research study, as these provide direction to the research and give more precision while stating the findings, which is achieved by testing research hypothesis statistically. Then the methods of data collection are written. Several methods like observation, questionnaire, interview are available, which we have discussed in our videos. Depending upon the purpose of the research and availability of resources, one or more than two methods may be used in the study. In data collection procedures, at each and every step, all the measures are need to be taken to ensure rigorous procedure and avoiding ambiguity. Random sampling technique, the data collected must be processed and analyzed with great precision and care. Then the task of reporting the findings to others must be in efficient manner. Now let us see research designs in experimental researches. Human beings and events are very complex, and the events happening to human beings are not the result of the single causing factor. These are the result of more than one variable interacting with each other. Studying and working on the law of single variable demands a restricted and artificial relationship between single variable, and which is not possible in case of human beings, and fail to provide adequate approach to research on human beings in laboratory. And in this regard, R.A. Fisher contributed tremendously towards devising certain known laboratory techniques for researching upon human beings experimentally in groups outside the laboratory settings. Let us discuss some basic principles of experimental designs. First is principle of control. Control is the most important characteristic of experimental design, and the known source of variability or the intervening variable is made to vary deliberately over as wide a range as necessary, and this is done in such a way that the variability it causes can be measured and can be eliminated as experimental error. Since more of the factors are accounted for with accuracy, more control is being enforced. See, according to Van Dalen, the control has following advantages in experimental research. Why we have control in experimental research? First reason is for having quantitative evaluation of certain phenomena. If a researcher is interested in knowing the relationship between two variables, he will be able to state the relationship not only by stating that positively or negatively the variables are related, but he will be able to state the relationship in specific degrees. And this is possible if we have sufficient control by opting an appropriate design. Second reason is for achieving isolation for dependent and independent variable. By having control, the researcher may remove the effect of intervening variables or will keep its effect constant or will equalize its availability in both the experimental and control group. This way, the independent or isolated relationship between the dependent and independent variables is seen. Third reason is why we have control. We can say for manipulating the independent variables. By having the control, the researcher is not only able to isolate independent and dependent variables from intervening variables, rather to study the effect of independent variable. The independent variable is manipulated by varying its magnitude. It is varied in magnitude. Second principle is principle of replication. In order to increase the generalizability of the findings of the experimental research, it needs to be replicated, because experimental researches are criticized for their generalizability. By doing so, statistical accuracy of the experiments is increased. Even if the experiments have been conducted with objectivity and great care to control the effects of intervening variables, still it becomes difficult to overcome the discrepancies which invariably remains and influence the result of our experiment. Replication means conducting a number of sub-experiments within the framework of overall experimental design. Instead of comparing a result of one control group with the result of one experimental group, the researcher makes a number of comparisons or comparing multiple times of a number of cases of the control group and a number of cases of the experimental group. So the generalizability increases this way. Third principle is principle of observation. Experimental researches provides for systematic and logical association between manipulated variables and observed effects. In this form of research, researcher has some degrees of control over the variables involved and on the conditions under which the variables are observed. He manipulates some aspects of the experiment and observes how the condition is changed or affected. Observation related to dependent variables of the subjects are taken as a result of change or manipulation in the independent variable. So these were the principles of research designs. Now let us discuss how control is achieved in research designs. In experimental researches, researcher attempts to control the effect of intervening variables which are affecting the dependent variable other than the independent variable. And the researcher is interested in knowing the effect of independent variable on the dependent variable in isolation by controlling the effect of intervening variables. Such intervening variables are responsible for any pre-existing differences between the subjects before the start of the experiment. Suppose if the researcher is interested in studying the effect of team teaching on the academic achievement of 10th grade students in science in comparison to simple lecture method. So apart from the method, there are some other factors associated significantly with the academic achievement in science like study habits, intelligence, scientific attitude, home environment, interest, and there are so many variables. Then the researcher is to control the effect of all these intervening variables in order to study the effect of team teaching on the academic achievement of 10th grade students in science in comparison to simple lecture method. In these intervening variables, there are some variables which are situations, some are inter-subject difference. So let us discuss how we can control situational variables. There are some methods to control situational variables. They are not related to inter-subject differences. Situational variables can be controlled by some methods. First is method of randomization. In the example we discuss now, the researcher may divide the two groups into further two subgroups to equalize the effect of teacher. Teacher can also be an intervening variables, like if the teacher who is teaching by lecture method is very much efficient and competent in teaching, then the effect of method cannot be studied in isolation. So here what we can do, the subjects can be divided in two groups, control group and experimental group. Control group can be further divided into group 1 and group 2. And experimental group can also be divided into group 1 and group 2. Control group 1 will be taught by teaching by lecture method, and group 2 teacher teaching by team teaching. And same case, experimental group 1 the teacher teaching by lecture method, and group 2 of experimental group the teacher teaching by team teaching. So in both the groups, control group and experimental group, both the teachers are using both the methods. So over here the effect of the teacher will be neutralized. So method of randomization is very helpful in achieving the control of situational variables. Second method is method of holding situational variables constant. Effect of classroom, time, teacher, etc. are quite known intervening variables which can affect the academic achievement. Apart from the effect of teaching method, treating both the experimental and control group in each and every aspect same except the treatment of independent variables like teaching method. Keeping time, classroom and same teacher in both the groups can control all the effect of intervening variables which are situational. Second, how we can control inter-subject differences. Apart from the situational variables, inter-subject differences also affect our dependent variable. So there are 5 methods. First is random assignment of subjects to the groups. To attain experimental equality, randomization is considered the best technique. It is a scientific and systematic procedure to equalize the two groups. Here, the equal number of participants or subjects are divided into two groups by using simple random technique. Another method is matching subjects or intervening variables and then randomization. In this technique, the researcher first identifies the intervening variables which are supposed to affect the dependent variable except the independent one. Suppose in this example, the researcher identifies study habits and intelligence as the intervening variables. For example, he takes study habits on which the subjects are to be matched. Then the subjects with same study habits will constitute one pair, and then out of this one pair, one subject is assigned to one group and another subject is assigned to second group. Suppose if we say we divide study habits in two categories, the students who studies 8 hours, the student who studies 6 hours. So out of the students, if there are 4 students who studies for 8 hours, so 2 students will be assigned to group 1 and 2 students will be assigned to group 2. Another method is random assignment on the basis of homogeneous selection. When it is known that some specific intervening variable is going to affect the dependent variable, then with respect to that non-intervening variable, both the groups are made equivalent by selecting the subjects randomly in 2 groups from total subjects who are homogeneous on that intervening variable. For example, if the age of the students is going to affect the dependent variable, then what we will do? We will take the students of the same age group, then we will divide the students into 2 groups. Next technique is technique of analysis of covariance. What is covariate? A covariate is a variable which has not been controlled by the researcher during the experiment and is believed to affect the dependent variable. And this technique of balances the difference between the 2 groups on the dependent variable which are treated with 2 different treatments after taking into account any pre-existing differences of the subjects. Next technique is subjects as their own control. In this technique, one group of subjects is treated with independent variable. For first time, one treatment is given and the results on dependent variable are recorded. Then another treatment is given and result on dependent variable is recorded. And then comparison is made between the effectiveness of two types of treatment as independent variable. Now let us discuss various experimental designs. Experimental designs are the framework or the structure of the experiments. Experimental designs vary from very simple to complex type of designs. Selecting a particular experimental design depends upon the nature and purpose of research. Experimental designs differ from each other in degrees of accuracy and precision they provide in obtaining the control. And no design can fulfill the demand of an ideal experimental research. There are certain main categories of experimental design. One is pre-experimental design, second is true experimental design, third factorial design, and fourth is quasi-experimental design. And all these main research designs are further classified into various research designs which we will discuss in our next video. Learners, today I hope you have enjoyed this learning session.